What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in. We're gonna do a smoked brisket today. I'll walk you through the steps. Go start out with some of the trimming, the rub, and finally put it into the smoker. Stay tuned, see you in a little bit. All right, guys, so here we go. We're gonna start out with the trimming process. Trimming process, little tedious, and yeah, it takes a little time consuming. It's not fun, but it has to be done, and do it right. Depends on the actual brisket that you get. It's gonna have a little more, a little less fat. I try to trim some of it off, but I don't trim it completely off. I leave some little fat cap on there. That's just gonna add moisture, and it's gonna help it with not drying out. First thing I like to do, look at it against the grain and just give it a little cut against the grain. So like that, once it's cooked, I know in which direction I need to cut it. The brisket, you always cut it against the grain. It helps with just with the flavor and then making it tender. Like I said, it's a very tough cut of meat, and cutting against the grain helps with that. All right, so let's just start out trimming a little bit here. You guys, you know, once you start cooking, you take your own take. This is not the specific way to do it, and I'm not a professional by any means, but hey, just trim up a little bit of fat where you think is reasonable. And after you cook a couple of them, you'll realize what you like, a little more, a little less. But that's it. We'll keep trimming here. Flip it around. As you can see here, we have this is where the big fat cap is. If you're able to see here, I don't know if the camera's focusing that good, but you take a look here, it's pretty thick. I like to cut that probably like around half of that. Just leave like maybe like a little quarter inch maybe of that. Start cutting some of that. If you leave that on there, it's just gonna be gooey. A lot of this fat doesn't render, so it's not gonna cook through. So you're just gonna have this fatty stuff that doesn't taste good. You trim some of it off and you're good to go. It keeps that little fat cap with the moisture, but not the whole thing. Make sure you sharpen your knives for this here, because if not, you're gonna have a long day. This process, I like doing this process. I'll do the trimming now, then we'll go ahead and do the rub. I try to do it at least 8 hours before, just so some of that seasoning can soak in a little bit. It's a thick cut of meat, so it's not gonna really go in there. It's not gonna penetrate the meat that much. Some people inject it. I really don't like injecting it. I haven't found the need for it. Brisket comes out pretty good without having to inject it. Just the rub, the outside rub, gives it a nice little crust on it, like nice little bark. You guys will see when the finished product, when we pull it out, and it has that nice beefy taste on the inside. That also has to do with the quality of the meat that you're getting. Try not to be cheap on that, and try to get the best quality meat that you get. You're gonna get that flavor plus the tenderness. So it's a win-win. All right, so you guys mostly see the whole process. I don't want to bore you to death, keep trimming the fat over here, but basically just trim it off to your liking. There's little pockets that be careful, like here. This side, it's on the point. It's not the flat. It's pretty self-explanatory, but on the point back here, the fatty part of the brisket, you have this big pocket in one of the sides. I try to dig in there with a knife and just cut that out, because it's very thick and that fat is not gonna render at all. Once you start trimming that off, you'll see how thick it is, and you just gotta get rid of that, because if not, you're just gonna have a big piece of chewy goo inside your brisket that you really don't want. Brisket has enough fat as it is. You don't need any of this extra fat that's not gonna cook through. So just be careful cutting that through. Don't waste too much of the meat, but try to get rid of that. Alrighty, so this is what I'm talking about. Let me try to get it out and just show you guys before we move on. There we go. Okay, if you can see this is tough. And look how thick this is. This is not, you know, don't leave that in there. Just try to trim that out as much as possible. As long as with the other one, alright? But you guys see the process. More or less just you know, little by little. Like I said, I'm not a professional at this, you know, so it takes me a little bit. Same thing with you guys. Don't be afraid. Just start trimming off little by little. Try not to trim too much. Just trim a little bit, then take a look at it. If you think that's good, then stick to it. If not, trim a little more. If you trim too much, you can never go back on that. So I like leaving a little bit of fat. So you can see here, I'll probably trim up a little bit more, but leave a little fat, especially on the flat. The flat's the one that tends to dry out a lot. The point is the fattier part, so it has fat inside as well. So you're not gonna have an issue drying that out. I mean, if you do, then you're in trouble. But the flat is where the main thing is. That's the leaner part of the brisket. It's, if you guys are not aware, it has two pieces. You have the point, which is the bigger, fattier part, and you have the leaner, the flat. That's where you see the sliced up brisket, the slices, that comes from the flat. The point, you usually see the burnt ends, the little chunks, all of that's coming from the point. Alrighty guys, so I'll keep on this and then we'll step into the rub. I don't want to keep boring you with this. Alright guys, now we're going to start with the rubbing process here. Alright, it's already been trimmed up and I made my own rub. There's a million options out there. You can buy pre-made rub, you can make your own rub. There's tons of recipe online. I make my own rub. I didn't have anything pre-made from any of the guys that I buy from, so I just decided to make my own. Most of the time, to tell the truth, I use my own rub. Mix up a couple of things, taste it, and throw it on the brisket or the ribs, whatever I'm making. I'll put another video. I don't want to go through the whole how I make my rub. If you guys want, hit me up in the comments and I'll give you the recipe that I use, and I'll make a video of how I make my own rub, a quick little video, so like that you guys could have it and have that option. Alright, so we're gonna start out. I'm sure you guys, if you've seen some of these videos, you've seen people put all sorts of things on the brisket as for a bonding agent. Mostly you get mustard. I used to do it like that, and then I found this. Put sriracha on it. I cover it up with sriracha as you do with the yellow mustard that most people put on there. And there's my little trick. So use it, try it out. It works for me. Everybody that eats it loves it. So I put sriracha on it, use that as a bonding agent. Gives it a little bit of a kick, but it's not too much because the cooking process, it kills some of the heat off. Plus you got the rub, and so it's a slight little kick on the aftertaste. You won't even notice it, but it packs more flavor than the mustard. Mustard is just holds it and bonds the rub to the actual brisket or whatever cut of meat that you're cooking, but it doesn't really add any flavor. This just adds a little extra flavor, extra layer of flavor, that you have it as a little aftertaste, and you feel the sriracha flavor at the end of the bite, which I like. And to tell you the truth, I haven't had any complaints about it. I like it a lot better than using the mustard or any other methods that are out there. So just try it out. I recommend it. Cover it up real good. And now we start with the rub. I made enough rub here, so hopefully we'll have some leftovers for the next cook. Don't go cheap on the rub. Like I said earlier, this is a thick cut of meat, so just put it on there. Don't be afraid to use too much. This is what makes that nice bark. I got people asking me all the time, yeah, how you get that bark on that brisket? I make the brisket, but it doesn't have that nice bark on it. Well, here you go. That little rub with the cooking process, you're gonna have that nice bark on your brisket too, with a nice little smoke ring. Looking good. So that looks pretty good right there. Make sure you pat it down. Make sure it sticks on that sriracha sauce that we put on there. Have some on the cutting board. Don't let that go to waste. Just keep using that. Flip it over. Do the same thing on the other side. Nice, good, generous amount of rub. Pack in all that flavor. There we go. Alright, so there you have it. Brisket is all done up. The rub is all on there, ready to go. I like to, most of the time I like to leave it overnight. I was a little pressed with time on this one. I wasn't sure if I was gonna cook or not. So this is gonna be on there probably around 8 hours. Put it back in the fridge, wrap it up with this rub on there. I've done it like that before. And it's not a big deal, you know. Ideally, I would like to leave it overnight with the rub, but listen, a couple of hours on there, do your best. If you can leave it overnight, perfect. You can do it 3, 4, or 5 hours, whatever you can. My opinion, the longer the better. It's gonna be in there like 8 hours. You probably won't even notice the difference between this and one that's been sitting overnight. All right, so there you have it. Next step, we'll go outside and light up that Weber Smoky Mountain. That's where we're gonna be cooking this at. And we'll go through those steps. Alrighty, see you in a couple hours. What's up, guys? Well, we're back here now. We're starting out the Weber Smoky Mountain. I had a full chimney of lit charcoal. I just put it on top of almost about a whole bag of unlit charcoal. I'm using briquettes, just your regular Kingsford. Using the minion method. It's basically where you put the lit charcoal on top of the unlit charcoal. Little by little throughout the cook, that lit charcoal is going to trickle down and start lighting up that unlit charcoal. This helps you with that charcoal lasting throughout the whole smoke. This is going to be 10, 12, 13 hours, so we need it to last. That's the best method out there that you're able to pretty much cook throughout without having to even worry about putting any more charcoal or anything else to this. Once I get it up to temperature, I'll throw in a couple pieces of hickory logs that I have here, and then that's it. The show will start. Alright, guys, well, as you can see, brisket's in the Smoky Mountain. We got temperatures up at around 230. I'll bump it up a little bit more. I'll let this here sit overnight, and I'll probably bump up the temperature a little bit more. I've been cooking my briskets lately like around 270, 275 in the higher end, and man, I've been getting great results. It's been coming out super good, juicy, not tough at all, and it reduces the cook time tremendously. Still getting that nice smoke ring. You're getting that deep smoke flavor at a lot less time, and it's been working for me. If you guys want to try it out, try it out. If not, just stick to a traditional 225 and smoke it out. This here, I put the fat cap up. You guys, it works for me. I put a fat cap up and I've been sticking to that. It works for me. I know there's a debate out there whether there's a fat cap up or down. This works for me. Try what works for you. As you can see, we got here the Weber Smoky Mountain. If you're gonna use one of these, just make sure, man, just keep that water pan with water. It'll help you control the temperature and also add the moisture to whatever you're smoking. Once that water pan dries out, at least in this smoker, it's temperature starts going out of control and things get to dry out. They tend to dry out a little bit. Alrighty, so we're gonna sit it here. Just remember, if you're looking, you ain't cooking. So we're gonna close this up and I'll probably see it tomorrow morning. Almost the finished product by that time. All right, guys. So here you have it. This is the finished product. Its temperature's reading at 203 right now, so we're gonna go ahead and take it out. It's a little earlier than I expected, so I'm gonna have to go through the wrapping process. We're gonna wrap it up and put it in a cooler just to maintain the temperature until it's time to enjoy it. I'll walk you guys through that now in a minute, but there you go. Look at that bark. It was in here at like close to 270, like I told you guys. Been cooking at a higher temperature, close to 270, and it was in there for about 8.5 hours. This was 13.5 pounds. After trimming, obviously it goes down, and it wasn't that thick, so I guess that's what caused it to cook a lot faster. Even the point, as you can see, it's almost the same size as the flat, just a little bit fatter, but not as big as some of the other briskets. But yeah, we'll take it out of the smoker now and just wrap it up. I'll show you guys that now in a minute. Alright guys, as I mentioned earlier, the brisket's done a little earlier than we expected, so we're gonna wrap it up. This, I mean, happens to me all the time. Best way to do it, I wrap it up in aluminum foil real tight and put it in a cooler. I let it sit there. I don't start looking at it, I just close it up, let it sit there. I've had it there for 4 or 5 hours. I've taken it out of the cooler, and once I start unwrapping, it's still hot. You still have smoke and steam coming out of the bag. So don't worry about it. Just wrap it up, leave it there, and it continues to even cook. And that steam's still breaking down the meat inside. So, you know, it comes out even more moist, I think, in my opinion. I didn't wrap it through the whole process, the cooking process. I normally don't wrap it unless I have to. For expedite the cooking. That's when I wrap it. I'll put it on butcher paper if I have to. If I'm cutting it close on time, I'll put it on butcher paper and I'll wrap it up. But if I don't have to, like a day like today, I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. If anything, I'll spray it down. I mean, this time, to tell you the truth, they cook real quick. I didn't even have time to spray it down. We put it in there last night like around 8:30, and it's like around 6 a.m. right now. So I was sleeping, this bad boy was in there cooking like around 260 something, 270 with the smoker. Once you get the hang of your smoker, you're able to put it in there. That's how I cook all my briskets. I cook them overnight. I cook them overnight because I don't want to be waking up at 4 in the morning to start the smoker and doing all this stuff. I'll put it in there overnight. I already know how my smoker's going to react. If I put it at a temperature, it's going to stay there. And once you get the hang of it, you're able to do it like that. And then you just go through this process. We'll be having this for lunch, so it'll still be hot. It's not going to be cold. It's not going to dry out or anything like that. So we're good. With this bad boy. Boom, right there, good to go. Just put it in the cooler and try to go back to sleep. All right, so here you have it. Just a good old regular cooler. Put the brisket in there. I try to wrap it up in a towel. Helps with keeping it even warmer. And if any of the juices spill or anything, it gets trapped in the towel. So that's it. We'll close this up. Next time you see it, we'll be slicing it up and enjoying this nice brisket. All right, so here we have it. We have the brisket's been sitting in the cooler, as you guys saw. We're gonna unwrap it, start slicing it up so we can eat. Like I told you guys earlier, the cooler preserves the temperature very, very good. It's actually been there for probably like close to 6 hours. And it's still gonna be, it's still hot. It still has a good temperature, it's not cold at all. So that's the best way to save it if you have something that's later on in the day. Get rid of all this here. Still has a nice bark to it. flip it over. If you guys remember, I did that slice just so I could tell which way is against the grain. So I don't know, sometimes it's easier to tell than others. So we'll just start slicing against the grain. And there you go. You get those nice little slices. It's nice, soft, super tender. We'll just go, we'll separate it, the point from the flat, and we'll just slice it up. We'll do another video later. I'll show you how to do some of the burnt ends. We're not doing that today, but we'll show you how to do the burnt ends with a point. Real easy, and it adds a great flavor. It's great on sandwiches and stuff like that. Well, as you can see, there you go, guys. The brisket, it's perfect. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. Ask any questions. I'll try to help you out as best as I can. Remember to subscribe, hit the like button, and follow me on Instagram. I have a ton of other material there on Instagram, JC Smokey Goods. Follow me. I have little small little cooks that I do throughout the week and at the house and stuff like that. And you're able to see some of the recipes that I've been using lately. And there too, you can hit me up. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know if you have any questions, if you're trying to do your own stuff, and wherever I can help you out. All right, see you next time. Take care, guys.